We begin today on the presidential race and our new CBS News poll, which finds Vice President Harris up 4 points nationwide over former President Donald Trump. With interest rates and gas prices on the decline, she's aided in part by some improvement in views of the economy. Across the battleground states that will likely decide this election, Harris is up by a slimmer margin of 2 points. So this remains a contest that either candidate can win. For more, we're joined now by our Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Anthony, this is a remarkable national poll because to date, the economy has been viewed as a headwind for Democrats. That appears to be shifting.
Well, we saw a little bit of an uptick in voters' views of how the economy is doing. I should say right away, most people still think it's not good. But to the extent it moves in a positive direction, here's how it connects to votes for Harris. Number one, she wins votes of people who think the economy is getting better, even if it's not good. She wins the voters who say that their own finances are doing okay. She wins the votes of people who think the economy itself is good. Now, maybe all that's not unexpected for anyone from an incumbent party. There's always been this kind of nature of the times dynamic here where people who say things are bad, Donald Trump has been benefiting from that, especially people who say inflation is a top concern. So net-net, Harris has cut into Donald Trump's margin, still an advantage, among people who say that the economy is the top issue. Is she ever going to eclipse that? Maybe, maybe not. But the question politically is, can she do well enough to sustain this sort of very slight edge in what is, and I got to sort of reiterate this if I can, still a really close contest. Because even when you look state by state, everything is razor tight. It can go either way.
So how much did the debate help?
Well, a little bit in terms of firming up support for Harris, in the sense that on net, voters told us it made them more likely to consider her as compared to Trump. But the people who said that had voted for Joe Biden in 2020. They were already sort of Democrats or liberals. So in the sense that she's still trying to kind of cement that Biden electorate from 2020, that helps. And I should add quickly, look, Donald Trump's support isn't going anywhere. The question for him is, can he draw more voters to him, which doesn't look like it's happening just yet.
So immigration and the border crisis have been a prime area of attack by Republicans on Democrats. It really went back in the spotlight after the debate.
We looked at whether people thought that those claims about dogs and cats being eaten in Springfield, Ohio, were true. And by and large, the voting public says no, they don't think those claims are true. As you know, they've been debunked. But for Donald Trump's voters, there are 2/3 who do think that that is true, those claims are true, that do approve of him making those claims. Now, here's the difference. For them, for the Donald Trump voters, we ask, why do you think he made those claims? And their answer was they think he was trying to raise larger topics, larger issues about immigration. That's something we've seen before with Trump's rhetoric. There's maybe the literal part of it, but then there's also what they think is speaking to larger issues of concern to them. But juxtapose that against what the wider audience of voters thought. They disapproved of him making the claims. They thought his intent was to make people who were recent immigrants feel uncomfortable in those communities. And so that's the difference because, and sort of button up with this, when you look at Donald Trump's voters, remember that not only is immigration a big concern for them, but their perception of immigrants is very negative, frankly. It is, they think immigrants commit more crimes. So that's been kind of underpinning a lot of that, and it speaks to that Trump voting base.
Which is why he revisits that theme throughout. One of the other things that I know all of us have been tracking, you've been really trying to quantify, is the risk of political violence and the support for it in this country. It was just last Sunday, there was this second attempt on Donald Trump's life. Now, what do you think that indicates? if anything, about the months ahead?
Well, people think that the tone and tenor of our politics has gotten worse. And there is a substantial part of the electorate that does worry about political violence. And each side looks sort of across and says that they think violence might increase if the other side wins. And what's interesting about that is a lot of times people talk about the worry if one side or the other loses, but you also see this public conception of it as would that give kind of license to the other side if they were to come into power, all of which is to say we do unfortunately see the public mind, the electorate, feeling like this is a cloud hanging over the election.
A concerning one. Anthony Salvanto, thank you.
Thank you.